What if I told you that the most powerful creature in the sky started its life in the dirt? Not in a golden nest high on a mountain, not in a warm hollow of an ancient tree, in the dirt, on cracked, dry, indifferent ground, with nothing above it but a sky that didn't care whether it lived or died. This is the story of the giant nighthawk, and the moment you truly understand this bird, I mean really understand it, you will never see your own life the same way again. The egg appears before we even expect it. No ceremony, no announcement, just a small speckled thing resting on bare rock, camouflaged so perfectly it looks like it was never meant to be found. The mother is already gone. Nighthawks don't build nests. They don't decorate. They don't prepare a comfortable world for their young. They simply trust the earth. And then they leave. Because survival, real survival, has never been about comfort. It has always been about what you do when comfort is taken away from you completely. The chick breaks through the shell on a day the world isn't watching. It blinks. The sun is brutal. The wind is cold. A hawk circles somewhere overhead, patient and terrible. And this tiny creature, this absurd, vulnerable, trembling little thing, opens its beak and cries. Not because anyone will answer, but because crying is the first brave thing a living creature ever does. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote that what does not kill us makes us stronger, but what he didn't mention is what comes before the strength. Before the strength, there is only cold, there is only hunger, there is only the terrifying silence of being completely, utterly alone. Days pass. The chick huddles against a rock and endures. A snake passes close enough that the nighthawk can feel the displacement of air. It freezes completely, its heart hammering so fast it becomes just one long trembling note, and it waits, and the snake moves on. And the nighthawk breathes again, and it gets up. This is the part nobody films, the getting up, the 10,000 ordinary mornings after 10,000 difficult nights when nothing dramatic happens except the decision, one more time, to continue. The wings are fully grown now. They stretch out on either side of the bird's body like something that belongs to a much larger, much grander story. The nighthawk stands at the edge of a rocky outcrop one evening as the sky turns purple and gold and the first stars begin to appear. Below is wind and space and the terrifying freedom of the open air. The bird looks down. Rumi wrote, and Rumi knew something the rest of us spend lifetimes trying to learn. He wrote, "You were born with wings. Why do you prefer to crawl through life?" And standing there, on that edge, in that impossible light, something shifts inside the nighthawk. Something old and certain and patient moves through its hollow bones, and it jumps. For 1 second, 2 seconds, it falls, drops like a stone toward the valley below. And then the wings catch the air. They spread fully, completely, magnificently, and the giant nighthawk rises. Not gracefully, not perfectly, but it rises. It climbs into the darkening sky and it screams, that distinctive, electric call that sounds like something between a cry and a celebration. And the night opens up around it like a kingdom that was always waiting.
This is its true world. Not the harsh daylight where other birds rule, and the nighthawk's camouflage makes it invisible and forgotten. The night. The dark, quiet, overlooked hours when most creatures are hiding and sleeping and waiting for something safer. The nighthawk owns the dark. Its enormous eyes gather light that other eyes can't detect. Its wide, agile wings cut through the night air with a precision that looks effortless, but is the result of every single difficult day that came before. Viktor Frankl, who survived things that would break most of us completely, wrote that everything can be taken from a person except one thing, the freedom to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. The nighthawk chose. In the dust, in the rain, in the loneliness, it chose, again and again, to continue. And then, slowly, the way the world always does when it finally pays attention, people notice. A researcher raises binoculars with trembling hands. A child points upward and cannot find words. A photographer lowers their camera because the image on the screen cannot capture what their eyes are seeing. The wingspan alone stops conversations. The movement, that sudden breathtaking dive from height, that last-second pull-up with an insect caught perfectly in mid-air, looks like something choreographed by a universe that had been planning this moment for a very long time. They call it great now. They write about it. They travel to see it. But greatness was never the destination. Survival was the first chapter. Persistence was the second. Greatness was simply what happened when those chapters refused to end. And then, slowly, the way the world always does when it finally pays attention, people notice. A researcher raises binoculars with trembling hands. A child points upward and cannot find words. A photographer lowers their camera because the image on the screen cannot capture what their eyes are seeing. The wingspan alone stops conversations. The movement, that sudden breathtaking dive from height, that last-second pull-up with an insect caught perfectly in mid-air, looks like something choreographed by a universe that had been planning this moment for a very long time. They call it great now. They write about it. They travel to see it. But greatness was never the destination. Survival was the first chapter. Persistence was the second. Greatness was simply what happened when those chapters refused to end. And in a quiet moment, a sunset over a valley that stretches to the horizon, the nighthawk sits still, and something passes through it that we don't have a word for, but that every living thing recognizes. Gratitude. Not to a person, not to luck, but to the difficulty itself. To the cold that thickened its feathers, to the predators that sharpened its senses, to the loneliness that forced it to learn the night, to every hard day that built, without its knowing, the wings it now flies on. Marcus Aurelius, emperor, philosopher, a man who understood that power comes from within or not at all, wrote that the obstacle to action advances action, and that what stands in the way becomes the way. Every single thing that tried to stop the nighthawk was, in truth, building it. The dust was not its enemy. The dust was its first teacher. But here is the thing I need you to understand. This is not a story about a bird. This is a story about you. You, sitting wherever you are right now, in your doubt and your uncertainty and your unremarkable ordinary day, wondering if any of it matters, wondering if the effort is worth it, wondering if you, invisible, unnoticed, tripping over your own oversized wings, will ever find the cliff you need to jump from. You are the giant nighthawk, born in dust, built for the dark, designed to fly at the hours when weaker things are sleeping. Your wings are already there. They just look, right now, like something you stumble over. Joseph Campbell spent his life studying the stories that human beings tell themselves, and he found that every great story contains the same truth. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Your cave is the life you are living right now, the hard version, the embarrassing, imperfect, difficult version that nobody is applauding. Go in, go deeper, because on the other side of that darkness is a sky that belongs to you, and it has been waiting for you longer than you know. Someday they will write about you, not because you were born lucky, not because the world was kind to you, or the timing was perfect, or someone handed you the right opportunity at the right moment, but because on the days when none of that was true, you were still there, still getting up, still moving forward, still becoming, quietly and stubbornly, exactly what you were always meant to be. It always begins in the dust, and it always, always ends in the sky.